Hi, my name is Nina Brissey, and this is the FitLit project at Turing School of Software and Design, and we renamed our application Get Fit. Fitness is super important to the both of us, so this was a very cool application to work on.
And I'm Rachel Jensen. Get Fit is a health and fitness app that allows users to review their daily and weekly health goals in a bright and friendly display.
So on page load, we generate a random user. So I am Noemi, and as Noemi, I get a view of all of my information. So I've got my address here, my email, my step goal, my stride length, and my friends. In our water intake, you can take a look at your water goal. The water goal is 100 ounces, and then I need 34 ounces to reach my goal. You can also take a look at your water intake by day, and we have this set to our latest day, which would be today. And today in Naomi's world is January 22nd. So now Rachel is Dan. Hey, Dan.
Yeah. Hey. So we also have some sleep data here. In the sleep report, Dan can review last night's sleep against the average, as well as his sleep score. And the weekly sleep report shows the hours of slept each night over the course of the last week. And finally, there's a daily activity box that allows Dan here or any user to be able to see their steps they've taken that day, the minutes active, the miles they've traveled, and the flights of stairs they have walked up.
We were also tasked to create a responsive application where you could view it on iPad and mobile. So here is our iPad version, and you can tap just like you can select on the desktop version. You can check out all the data. And as you can see here, we also have our mobile version. And same thing here. Can check out all the data just as you can on the desktop. All right, so the technologies that we used the big three. We used JavaScript, HTML, and CSS for our application.
With the JavaScript, we were tasked with using ES6 arrow functions and making use of the iterator methods, which are a newer feature of JavaScript.
And with CSS, we used Sass for the first time. So that was pretty cool. And we also used Grid to build our layout and media queries to build a responsive page.
We also made use of a Mocha framework and a Chai assertion library to do test-driven development to make sure that we were building bug-free code.
And we learned how to implement fetch API calls and how to resolve multiple fetch calls using promise.all.
And part of what made our display really beautiful is that we elected to use a package called chart.js, which helped us create these colorful displays using our data model.
So we had some big wins during this project. And one of those wins was that I think that we exceeded our goals set and the expectations that we set for ourselves as far as what was the minimum viable product for the school and those requirements, but also the ones that we set for ourselves. I think that was in large part due to our great partnership.
Yeah, that was easily one of the biggest wins of this project, was that we communicated with each other clearly. We used project boards and issues on GitHub to keep ourselves organized, as well as spending the time to really make a plan for how to execute the project, and using a planning board to keep track of the design as well as the different features that needed to go into it.
we learned how to use Webpack on this project, which it wasn't necessarily necessary for this project, but it's a file management system, and it will be necessary when we get to mod 3 and start to implement React or use React for our projects.
Which is cool, that links to also the challenges that we dealt with, and I think did really well managing, which was that this project required a much higher level of complexity, both in terms of like learning how to use Webpack, learning how to pick and install a package like charts.js in order to make our display what we wanted. It required a lot of learning and figuring things out as we went. And that complexity also showed up in the number of test files we needed to create and the number of files in general that needed to speak to each other using import and export language to be able to all work together synchronously.
I feel like another win that we had was our JavaScript implementation and our logic, but a challenge that we had was our CSS, as I know that can be challenging for many. It was definitely challenging on the charts. If you see here, we have to scroll to see our full view, and part of that is our charts. So one of the challenges was resizing the charts, and we were able to do it, but I'll just give you a little sneak peek here. If we do start to adjust, there goes our water intake, and it gets a little funny. So that would be one that we'd want to keep the same size, and then the others would be responsive. So it's just a matter of going in and messing with the CSS. And another thing as far as the design goes would be to implement mobile first design. We did not get this information in a lesson until after we had already designed our desktop. So we went from desktop to tablet to mobile, and in the future, we will go from mobile to tablet to desktop. Some extensions that we would like to add are, as you can see here, we have an input date field. So you can select the week ending in, and then that would display, it's not going to do it now, but that would give us 117 over here where 122 is, and you would see that week's worth of water intake, or that week's worth, or that week's sleep report. You would also be able to change the day to look at that specific day's water intake.
Likewise, we have more data in terms of activity that could be displayed as well. So a user's week's worth of steps or minutes active or miles or any number of things could actually be displayed in their own charts or in drop-down menu where you could choose to see different reports for different days. And another thing that would be fun, since our users have friends who are also users of the app, being able to have them elect a challenge, like maybe a number of steps over a certain period of time or a certain number of miles, and then be able to see each other's progress in another display for their challenge.
And like Rachel said, we do have the logic already built in to be able to get that week's worth of data by date input. So should be a pretty easy thing to implement. And yeah, that is our Get Fit project. Thanks for listening.
Get fit.
Got to get those steps in and get fit.